You're watching American Wire. Sheriff David Clarke does not let Don Lemon get away with his false claims. Check it out.
Their message is peace and coming together in the country. What's your message?
You don't believe that for 1 minute, do you?
That their message is?
Yeah.
That's what they said to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe them. Of course
Any
I believe them
protests
when they say
over the deaths of these cops today in Baton Rouge?
I don't know that. I don't know that.
Any riots or protests over the police officers in Dallas, Texas?
What are you asking?
It's a pretty simple question.
I asked you if what's your message to the people. Their message is one of peace. What is your message?
My message has been clear from day one 2 years ago. This anti-cop sentiment from this hateful ideology called Black Lives Matter has fueled this rage against the American police officer. I predicted this 2 years ago. So what I want to know,
okay, Sheriff.
do I want to know?
With all due respect, do you know that this was because of that?
Yes, I do.
As a law enforcement officer?
I've been watching this for 2 years. I predicted this. This anti-police rhetoric sweeping the country has turned out some hateful things inside of people that are now playing themselves out on the American police officer. I want to know, with all of the black-on-black violence in the United States of America, by the way, when the tragedies happened in Louisiana and Minnesota, you know that 21 black people were murdered across the United States? Was there any reporting on that?
There was a black officer who was killed today. But
was there any reporting on that?
Sheriff, please, let's just keep the volume down here. So I understand, and listen,
I'm looking at 3 dead cops this week,
Sheriff,
and I'm looking at 5 last year. You trying to tell me to keep it down?
Just please, if you will just please, we can keep it civil. So, because the message to people at home, I'm sure you want, is one of civility.
I wish, Don, I wish you had that message of civility
to have a conversation
toward this hateful ideology, these purveyors of hate.
You don't know what my message is.
That's
what I
what
want
they
to say
do.
to you is
these people preach vile and virtue
in
the name of hate.
And we'll be right back. All I want to do is have a conversation. I can't have a conversation with you if we're both talking at the same time. What it sounds like to me is that you're accusing me of violence and supporting a narrative that I'm not necessarily in support of. And if that's what you're accusing me of violence, then you can leave. That's not true. I don't support violence of any type against police officers, against anyone. So if you're accusing me of that, then you're welcome to leave. But if you want to have a conversation, I am more than willing to welcome a conversation with you. I don't disagree with you about there's a narrative across the country that could be harming police officers. But we don't know right now, as someone who's in law enforcement, if that was the actual cause of it.
You know what's really getting mad as I'm watching this video? Don Lemon told the sheriff to not speak over him, or that, not to speak over each other, and to allow each other to finish talking, right? He set the whole stage as far as how he wanted them to be talking. And what does he do? Every time the sheriff shares and answers a question, Don's interrupting him. Don's stopping him from talking. The minute Don hears or sees him saying something that does not fit into the narrative that Don is trying to advocate for that interview, he was shutting him off. I mean, I have so much respect for the sheriff. He is just an advocate for police officers. I could listen to him all day. He is a wealth of information. And when he said that, the rhetoric out there about anti-policing is wrong and it's not truthful. And then Don's like, give me specifics, be more. And then when the sheriff does that, what does Don do? He just ignores him and says, well, that's not true, or whatever. And then what really pissed me off is how many times, if you've seen Don Lemon, I have not purposely seen his interviews. I don't seek them out. I do run across them like this one every now and then. He is always giving his opinion and his viewpoint. But no, that interview, he's sitting there as a journalist, and a journalist doesn't give their viewpoint. I mean, I can't take Don Lemon. And, kudos for the sheriff for sitting down and even having that interview with him.